Hello and welcome to the AFC Newsday podcast, episode number 2. First episode was really enjoyable to record and it seems like it was received really well, so thanks a lot for your support. And today we're going to be talking about various topics, including pre-season, which starts on Thursday in Germany at Nuremberg, and a few other topics, like a few recent links. There's not been too many, as Arsenal have done all their business already. We won't be talking too much about the new signing side of things, as we already did that in the previous episode. We'll potentially touch on Timber a bit, as we didn't. But yeah, Dan, how are you doing?
Matt, I'm very well, thank you, mate. Yeah, looking forward to this episode and getting stuck in. Pre-season has treated me well, but I am now at the stage where I'm a bit like, just give me the football. And yeah, hopefully soon we should be getting it back. So yes, mate, I'm very excited for some pre-season games, and I've taken advantage of Arsenal's offer where you can buy like 4 games for like £12. So I look forward to staying up until the early hours of the morning and watching Arsenal play. Yeah, Miles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri playing against Man United in America. It's going to be fun.
Is there a better way to spend your 3 a.m.s?
No, mate, there's no better way.
I'm going to introduce something on the spot because before Dan and I off camera, we were going through some football shirts. I want to know, what is your favourite top you own? For people, put it in the comments or just reply to our Twitter at AFC Newsday, where we've been posting quite a few clips from the podcast we've been recording and just various content. As anyone who's following saw our reaction to Declan Rice initially when the agreement finally did happen, which is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, since we've got to say, Matt, since we last recorded, we've had the Ornstein bomber, we've had the Fabrizio. Here we go. We've had the full works, mate. We're all up to date. Timber and Declan Rice, they're on their way. They're confirmed by the journos. We're just waiting for Arsenal to post confirmation, which always seems to take about 75 working days.
Well, 75 working days it is. But just to Arsenal fans, stay patient. Deal's done. That's all that matters.
Yeah, mate, you having a little go on Twitter, weren't you? You were saying you what was it you were saying? You were kind of like some people were just being a bit impatient, weren't they? And you were just kind of saying, just hold on a second, the hype's not died.
I feel like when I'm seeing people like West Ham United ex-employee, who's been brilliant, by the way, with this whole Rice saga, I just feel like when people are genuinely asking him for updates on Declan Rice, I'm just like, what update do you want? The deal's done. When it happens, it happens. It is what it is. But anyways, we'll begin as we mean to go on. We'll start off with the pre-season. Happy you're looking forward to Germany? Of course, we've got America as well. I mean, I say looking forward to Germany like we're going to Germany. I don't think we are. But should be a fun watch regardless. You looking forward to the first game, Dan?
Yeah, mate. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. As in, it's just like it's the rare time in the season where you can watch Arsenal play and not have any kind of emotional attachment. Unless you're losing like 7-0 or something like that, and it's just a bit embarrassing. Because what was it? There was a pre-season when Arsenal played up in Scotland. I can't remember who did they play Hibs? I can't remember.
It was on my birthday, actually.
They were losing, and everyone just had the biggest meltdown ever.
I remember it was on my birthday because I remember I was thinking of watching it and I was completely planning to watch it. I think it was for my 18th. I can't remember. And then I ended up going out with friends and just completely binned it off. I think it was Patrick Thistle. It might not. I can't remember who it was. I think it was a green logo team. That's not very helpful.
I think it might have been Hibs. I can't remember. Yeah.
I think it might have been. Yeah. But either way, I think we lost 2-1 and fans didn't take it particularly well, which is quite funny. But I think particularly with Germany and pre-season, too, obviously we spoke about last time, Ethan Nwaneri renewing his contract with Arsenal. I'm pretty sure we did. If not, then he has done so.
I don't think we did. I don't think we did, Matt. I don't think we did.
Well, either way then, great news for Arsenal that Ethan Nwaneri is extending his contract, his scholarship, and a contract past that, which is huge news for Arsenal. And I think the fact he's being taken to Germany and I imagine the US as well is definitely an indication that this isn't just renew a youngster and keep them, stop other teams getting them. This is a renew a youngster and show them paths to the first team, because that's all these young players want. And when you do have super young talents like Ethan Nwaneri and like Miles Lewis-Skelly, you find a way to create room for him. And of course, Arsenal have always pride themselves in developing youth, and I think that's a really huge part of the club, even when they are thriving. And when you do have special talents, that is the one. What do you think, Dan, of Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly and their development for this Arsenal side?
Well, I kind of, not to claim, that I did, but I mean, I did. I got the drop on these guys, well before they hit the mainstream. Um, no, but I
Well
did.
done.
I was fortunate enough. I was fortunate enough to do an interview with a member of Arsenal's coaching team back in my journo days before I retired from the Arsenal reporting game. And I spoke to this particular coach at Arsenal, and he said that if these, I'll leave a link in the description if people want to read the article because it's still up there. But he said that these two kids almost are like some of the most exciting prospects and people that he's ever coached within his time at the academy. And he's seen the likes of Jack Wilshere come through, Saka, Eddie, Smith Rowe. And he said these two kids are some of the most talented that he's ever worked with. And I was like, okay. And he said the big thing for him at the time was, can Arsenal keep them? And he didn't think they could. And I think it's incredibly exciting to see that Arsenal have, shown the initiative and got them tied down to long-term deals. But I think the thing I'm learning with this, the academy players and the way this kind of game works is, yes, they've gone to Germany, but Charlie Patino and I think Marcelo Flores went to Germany last season, and then they didn't end up going to the US for the preseason there. And I know Marcelo Flores actually cancelled his plans to play in the whatever age group European Championships it was that he was in to go on preseason. And then Arteta didn't pick him, so I think that was a little bit. He felt a little bit betrayed there, but there again, I don't know I think it'd be a bigger statement if Nwaneri and Lewis-Skelly went to America. But yeah, no, it's exciting. It'll be a good experience for them. They're both like 16 years old. Like I think they've just done their GCSEs, and they went to Dubai in the middle of last season. They're going to Germany. They're going to America, mate. These.
I find it utterly surreal. Like, imagine you've just finished your GCSEs and you're going on pre-season tour to some of the best clubs in the world.
Yeah,
playing against some of the best clubs in the world with all your senior teammates. Like, that is just unbelievable, really. And
mate,
I hope they have super careers.
Yeah.
On to, I guess, as you say, the key thing is them going to America. And I think with the level of talent we're talking about here and the fact that they've both gone to Germany, sorry, it kind of feels like it's a bit of a headline thing, not just like, they've been taken there. It almost feels like they're within the first team, not just a few youth taken on board. Because I think there are other young players which are taken on Germany or will be taken to the US.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of players who you'd expect to depart Arsenal as well, or are linked with moves away, because that's how it is with keeping players' fitness and such. But I think it is quite an interesting thing. It feels like with the social media content, they're very much in and amongst it with all the other senior players, which is pretty big. Dan, what do you think their involvement will be in Germany and against Nuremberg, and more importantly, in the US tour and for the season going forward, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, all the tournaments Arsenal are in? How do you see it?
I wouldn't be surprised, not to put a dampener on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if after Germany, we don't see them go to America or in the squads or anything like that. We might see them get, a bit of a cameo off the bench over in Germany, but again, not to be, put a downer on it, but I just think, based off what Arteta did last year, I'd be very surprised if they went. And you've got to think they're still only, they're not even 18 yet. They're still, I don't know exactly off the top of my head what age group they'll go into, but they've just signed the terms on, I'm going to cut here and I'm going to just quickly go to the David Ornstein article so I can see exactly what contract they've signed.
Yeah, I think it's from what I remember seeing, it's a scholarship and then a long-term contract. I'm not sure if Lewis Skelly has a scholarship and a long-term contract. I'm pretty sure Nwaneri definitely does.
Here we go. Yeah,
From
here we
what
go.
I've
Here we go.
heard
I've got a
about.
cramp in there. So yeah, so Ethan Nwaneri's committed to his future, as far as David Ornstein's saying, by signing scholarship terms and agreeing a pro deal when he turns 17. So you think he's going to be playing for the under-18s and 23s next season, or 21s, whichever age group it is.
21s, yeah.
Yeah, 21s, yeah. So I think it's exciting, and I think it would be nice for them to go out to Germany, but I think it's more likely when everyone else goes to America, you've got to think there'll be more players coming back as well. You'll have Deckers in there, you'll have Yuri and Timber. Mate, Declan Rice is an Arsenal player. It still feels sick to
Casual.
say it. Yeah, and I just think there'll be more other youth players put in there. As in, you say this, and then on the other hand, the likes of Cozy Ajubri didn't get a call up even to Germany. So I think there's a bit of disappointment with that from his side, because I'd like to have had a look at him in pre-season. But I think these kids are still incredibly young, and I know Jack Wilshere has said it a lot as well. But we just need to almost lay off a little bit, just take a step back and just kind of watch keenly from afar. But I think after Germany, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up just joining up with their age group, and well, not necessarily their age group, because there's probably not many 16-year-olds that have actually signed, but the 23s and 18s pre-season rather than first team. But it's an incredible experience for them, and Arteta's already shown how much he's willing to do to keep Nwaneri at the club in particular, because he played him in a blooming Premier League game. So
unbelievable. Yeah. Brentford away, nonetheless.
I know. So yeah, that's kind of where my head's at. But I'm excited by them, and I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on them. But I think I had a big feeling that Charlie Patino would be someone that would be given a chance. And again, I'm not sour about it. It is what it is. But I just it's tough for where Arsenal are at the moment to get minutes. So I think, yeah, I'd be surprised if they got minutes.
I think it's an interesting one, and I'm going to bring onto a different topic, but a similar topic, which I think is quite interesting. I'd say particularly with Chelsea, if you look at, the young players they're signing, there's a lot of exports from South America and such.
Yeah.
Do you see Arsenal, of course, there's been links to Brazilians in the past. I remember there was a time when Jolson Fernandez seemed like a formality from Sporting Lisbon, and that never came to fruition. Do you think Arsenal not going about that in the same way, or at least in the present, could create that very clear pathway to the first team for the likes of Ethan Nwaneri and the likes of Miles Lewis-Skelly, maybe a bit less so Cozy Ajubri, with four wingers, I guess, by name, Trossard, Nelson, Martinelli, and Bukayo Saka all going to Germany. It makes it quite difficult to add that fifth player. So do you think that creates almost a gap for these super young players to attack and get? I don't know what attack is, but to get into that Arsenal first team?
Maybe. I don't know. I still think I still don't think that we're going to see them in the team anytime soon. I would be absolutely blown away if they were anywhere near it. This season, personally, I mean, again, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think maybe with Arteta, what he's doing in pre-season is he's taken them to Germany and gone. Maybe Jack's recommended. Say, do you know what, Mikel, you've got to look at these guys. And Mikel's gone, okay, we'll take them to Germany. Training camp, he'll have them training alongside the first team, which I'm sure they've done plenty of by now. And he'll be able to make an informed decision on what he thinks. And if he's blown away by their ability in, the Germany camp, then he might say, you know what, we'll take you to the US as well, and we'll see how you get on there. And we'll just see how it goes from there, to be honest. But yeah, I haven't seen enough of them. And I'm probably not the right person to ask. I haven't seen masses of the 21s and 18s last season. Only, bits and pieces. But I think, I'd be very surprised if they got minutes. But maybe Arteta's taking it on like a day-by-day basis as such.
Yeah, very interesting. It's an interesting one. Let us know, of course, in the comments or on our Twitter newsfeed, as mentioned, AFC Newsday, just for your opinions on the matter, because I think it's an interesting one. Because I guess nothing at Arteta, but you I guess, suggest that in terms of players being brought in from the youth academy under Arteta, that hasn't really happened. But
No.
potentially that's very much because there's been so much deadwood and so many players who aren't of the level of Arsenal. And even now, there are still going to be quite a few players, at least going on the US tour, who you're like, hang on, why are you there and why is not someone like maybe a Lewis Skelly or a Nwaneri? I think
Yeah.
personally, just before I move away from this topic, or we move away from this topic, is I think particularly with Nwaneri and with the talents of this level, as you say, they're really, really young, so there's plenty of time and we don't need to go crazy or overreact with anything. And that is kind of the nature of how things are, that the likes of, I don't know, players who could be leaving, the likes of Pepe or Sambi Lokonga or Nuno Tavares, or players along those lines, Cedric Verpolding, will be taken to Germany and the US. But that's the nature of how things are. So it'll be interesting to see. Talking as well of the last episode, we spoke about Balogun. Not going to revisit that, but it is interesting to see he has gone to
Yeah.
Germany, as you'd expect, because
I'd expect
he's
it. Yeah.
an
Totally.
Arsenal player. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. I think the next topic we'll move on to. There's not really been too many transfer links, and I'm kind of going to go 2-1 with this question to you, Dan. In terms of Arsenal's squad,
Yeah.
are there any areas where you're very much like that needs to be added to? And almost links to, for me, where we've been linked to Jeremy Frimpong of Bayer Leverkusen for about 50 million euro price tag. I can't see a way that happens personally. And
Yeah.
João Cancelo rumours. A lot of it has been fan made. A lot of it has kind of been interest is very concrete and putting two and two together with Arsenal, with Arteta, and with
Yeah.
João Cancelo. Do you see a fullback like that happening? Do you think Arsenal need a fullback like that? And do you think there's
Sounds.
anything in this squad which you'd like adding to?
It sounds like a lot of money, what Manchester City would want, and I think they'd be a lot more reluctant to sell to Arsenal now compared to how they were, willing to a year ago. Because directly strengthening a rival, a title rival in Arsenal. Let's not beat around the bush here. Arsenal will be title challengers. Well, aiming to be anything less. One sec, I'm going to write it around this. Arsenal will be, title challengers next season, or everyone I think would be disappointed. I think if Arsenal weren't challenging for the title next season, I think the club would be disappointed. I think the fan base would be disappointed. I think there's a level of expectation now where Arsenal, the fans expect Arsenal to be up in and around there based off of last season. And I think, do I see João Cancelo happening? It's a tough one. I don't think I do see it happening, to be honest. I don't know where the hell he goes, but I don't see it happening. And Frimpong, I don't really know much about him, to be honest. But I would say I still think Arsenal need another midfielder, even with Partey staying. So you think I still think that they've not necessarily. It's tough because then I'd just like to see another midfielder brought in because I think if Partey stays, you can almost, and a lot of the noise we're hearing is that Thomas Partey will play a deeper role, and then Declan Rice maybe plays a more advanced role because Arsenal feel they can bring out that side of his game. Arteta feels that it's a side that can be developed, and he can fit into that maybe Granit Xhaka role. But I still think Arsenal are an injury away from, a bit of a disaster class, and I think Granit Xhaka was such a valuable player. He is such a, well, he's not died. he's a very, very good player, a very, very good player, and was incredibly valuable to Arsenal. I'm aware I've waffled on quite a lot with this, but I think I'd like to see another midfielder brought in. I don't know who, but maybe in the profile of a Granit Xhaka. I'd love to see Patino given a chance in there, but again, it's not going to happen now because he's going to move on. But I think Granit Xhaka's position, I'd like to see another midfielder brought in there. Where else am I thinking? A right winger would be good. Although then you've got the likes of Cozy Ajubri who can maybe play there. It's tough. I'm not too sure, to be honest, mate. It's hard to see where the next transfer comes from because I feel like the others were so obvious that needed to be addressed. Not necessarily Havertz, but Declan Rice and Timber.
Yeah.
We knew Arsenal needed a centre back and a centre midfielder. And Havertz, yeah, I'm interested to see where Havertz fits in. But yeah, no, I don't see Cancelo happening. Frimpong, I'm not too sure about. And it's hard to see where the next signing comes from. So it's a bit of a rubbish answer, but that is my answer.
That's fair. I mean, like, you're speaking about a midfielder and you're not really sure who.
Mm.
There's been a lot of talk about Kylian Mbappe I mean, there's always drama around his name every window. That's kind of how it is. But
Mbappe's not a midfielder.
brilliant. I mean, maybe Arteta season was one.
Left
But
wing back.
yeah, why not?
No, go on.
But the question I'm going to pose here is, I was kind of thinking, not in a dream world per se, but the likes of Aurelio and Tchouaméni links were popping up, and to me,
Ooh,
that would
yeah.
be completely illogical for Real Madrid to sell him. And to be fair,
Mhm.
I don't think they need to really sell any of their midfielders from a logical standpoint, because
Their
Camavinga
midfield
plays
is
the left back.
stacked, by the way.
Arda
What have they
Güler
got?
added to that
You
as
think
well.
about their midfielders. They've got their midfielders are so good. They're playing Camavinga at left back. That you think you've got Tchouaméni, you've got Jude Bellingham, you've got Camavinga, you've got Kroos, you've got Modric. Is Kroos still? Did Kroos leave?
No, Kroos and Modric are still there, yeah.
Right, Matty, turning the tables onto you. Since we last recorded, there's been some contracts signed. Arsenal have confirmed that both Reece Nelson and William Saliba have committed their futures to the Arsenal. Mate, how pleased were you to see those deals get across the line? I think Saliba especially. Reece Nelson, in my opinion, was a bonus. I love Reece. I think he's a brilliant player, and I'm excited to see him next season. It wouldn't have been the end of the world if he left, but I think Saliba leaving would have been a big, much bigger impact if he did leave. But mate, your thoughts? Saliba signing the dotted line and Reece Nelson signing on the dotted line too.
Very, very happy, particularly as you say with Saliba. You're talking about a player who 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, last season, there was murmurs that people were thinking he's never going to play under Arteta. He's never going to play for Arsenal. And now he's signed a new contract. I mean, he's an Arsenal fan at heart. Obviously, that doesn't mean too much in general because that's just how careers go. But
Yeah.
he is an Arsenal fan. It's almost worked out in the dream way. But I'm not naive as well. If Arsenal drop below the level, the likes of Bukayo Saka, the likes of William Saliba, the likes of Gabriel Martinelli have pretty much
Yeah.
every club in the world queuing up at their door. So
Yeah.
that kind of goes on to the 4-year contract point. But on the face of Saliba and Reece Nelson signing on, it's just brilliant. And I think definitely so far this has been one of the best windows, or if not the best window I've ever seen
Incredible.
at this point, aside from
Nothing,
Real Madrid.
not a
Probably.
foot wrong. They as in like you can't criticize an inch. They've gone
Gary
in there.
O'Driscoll,
Yeah, but it's
that
disappointing.
threw me off.
Gary's a lovely
I
guy, by
did
the way.
not expect that.
I've been fortunate enough to have a nice little, say hello to him and have a little conversation. But he's a lovely guy. And he's still there at
Great
the
for him
moment. I
though
think.
that he
I think
can.
he's
Yeah,
I think he's still there at the
he's
moment. Maybe
staying
serving out like
until.
how do you say
Yeah,
it? A
I think
period of
he's staying out until the summer, I think.
yeah
Just, which is nice, I think what you'll find as well with medical and that side of things, not players, is it's very friendly in that sense.
yeah
Not manager, sorry. That type of staff is often moving from club to club, and it's brilliant he was here for this long. And good luck to him. It's great he can be closer to his family up north with Man United, and
yeah
good luck to him. That was a bit of a random crossover, but more to the point with Saliba and Reece Nelson, I think going on to that 4-year contract point, I think people go too much about it.
yeah
The fact is, 2 years' time, if Arsenal are below the level that William Saliba and Bukayo Saka and the likes are, then there's going to be problems either way.
yeah
That's like, you don't get to keep Galactico talents unless if you're incredibly fortunate with a player like Bukayo Saka, who's just, incredibly loyal, if you will. But modern day football, there's no naivety about it. You've got
yeah
to be at the level of these players, and that's completely understandable. I think they'll always be first choice. Like Arsenal will always be their first choices, so long as Arsenal are of the level they are, which I
yeah.
think is personally completely understandable.
Yeah, if Arsenal match the ambition, then they'll match they'll meet them halfway. Right. Mate, I wanted to ask you, Mr. Kai Havertz has been seen in the Arsenal colours. He's over in Germany with the squad pre-season. soaking up some European weather, and some nice photos, some nice pre-season content from Arsenal. How does it make you feel to see Kai Havertz in Arsenal colours? I mean, it's still just kind of my head hasn't fully got round it, and I did find it kind of funny that Chelsea released their kit today on the day of recording, and Kai Havertz was in the photo shoot for Chelsea's kit, and he was taking the pictures back when it was released. And he was in the middle of one of these big photos, and they've had to edit around it and just do different angles, with half the photo without Havertz in it. And I think Chalobah and Aspilicueta were in the shoot as well, so they've had to edit around all of those players as well. But mate, Kai Havertz in Arsenal colours. What's that making you feel? Does it still feel a little bit strange and alien to you?
I'm not sure. Like, I'm very excited for him. Ironically, I was quite a big Havertz fanboy beforehand. I did
Yeah, it's
start
all
to
coming out
feel
now.
quite brilliant. I've got my receipts, don't worry. It did feel a bit peculiar. Well, I'll be honest, when I first saw the rumor, I was like, okay, well, this isn't happening. I'm not even going to bother breathing about it. Like, I'm not going to give it the time of day. All of a sudden, things have sped forwards, and Arsenal have agreed a deal. Medical's happening. It's happening, and I'm very excited for him. To be honest, I almost feel like Arsenal now are at a point where who does Arteta want to revive, or who does Arteta want to thrive? Because that's how it is with the way the team is, the way the structure is, the way the environment is. Win the dog, by the way, super addition.
Oh, mate,
But
Wynn's lovely. I got to meet Wynn on the second to last press conference.
I'm jealous of that because love.
We didn't get any
dogs,
warning
love
as well.
Labradors.
We just Arteta had left and everything, and one of the questions was asked in the press conference, and then all of a sudden, the press officer just opens the doors, and Wynn just comes running in. I think just caught everyone by surprise, and it was just like, wow! It's just like a bundle of energy. But sorry, carry on, mate. Carry on.
That is brilliant. I mean, I think the whole idea of having a dog around the
Yeah,
training ground is
just makes
brilliant.
it feel
I
more
love it.
homely.
100%. I mean, like,
Yeah,
put it this way: you can be in any kind of bad mood. A dog comes up to you or like shows you affection.
yeah.
You're not going to be in a bad mood towards it. Like, it's not possible.
Hmm.
So yeah, great addition, and I find it very interesting as well because Arteta's very big
Win
on
the
the
dog. Great addition
side.
to the squad. I'll mark the signing 7 out of 10.
Brilliant. On the psychological side of things, obviously we saw with All or Nothing quite a few team talk type of things. We saw when we played the Anfield music before we went to Anfield. We saw, well, not in All or Nothing, but we saw, I think after playing Fulham, we put a clock in their away dressing room.
Yeah.
And I think that's just really interesting because it shows that Arteta's so like, when people say he's obsessed with the game, that's
Mm.
almost an understatement. Like, he's trying to find any possible way to get an advantage on his opponent, get an advantage for his team, and I think it's brilliant and really good to see. And Win the dog is a really nice addition to that. It's quite a funny concept to be talking about that, but in a general sense, I think it's a really good, smart thing for football clubs to have. I think going on to a bit more, just to revisit the midfielder links or the transfer window stuff in general before we conclude there and go on to a final topic probably. With Real Madrid and Mbappe, I think what I was kind of feeling like could happen is one of the three midfielders gets sold in a panic thing of if Mbappe does go to Real Madrid, one of those gets sacrificed.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
almost
I get your point now. Yes, I get your point. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't want that being out of context that I'm saying, oh, Tchouameni's gonna, he's gonna
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
Real Madrid for Arsenal. But
Yeah.
I think
You're saying Real Madrid need
that
Mbappe money.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it could be forced with the talk and everything.
Mhm.
And I think logically Valverde or Camavinga would make the most sense. But it's also so hard to tell because they're all so settled. And it's almost a bit of a stupid conversation to have, but it's not because Mbappe can cause dominoes like that to fall because we all know Mbappe's been Real Madrid's dream for however long, and he's the one. Even with links to Kane earlier on, they never came to fruition, or it seemed like they never came to fruition because they want
Yeah.
Kylian Mbappe. And maybe he's available. It seems like he'll be available this summer, and I think tailoring onto away from the midfielder side of things, where I think there's been
Before we go
various
away from
links.
it, mate, I just wanted to say it's interesting you say that because I don't know if you remember a while ago, and it got squashed pretty quickly. But Arsenal, I remember Simon Collins put a story out saying that Arsenal were interested in signing Camavinga in the summer. Do you remember? And then
The
it got
winter as
squashed.
well, I think.
Say again?
I think we were trying to. There was
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
And
a winter loan as
it
well.
was interesting
Never going to
because
happen. But
yeah, but again, it shows the ambition of what they want to do. And again, you can make the how do you say the oh yeah, but I'm interested in Kylie Jenner. It's never going to happen. You know what I mean? But I think never say never, like you said. If they need money from Mbappe and they've got to sacrifice someone, and Arsenal are willing to pay a substantial fee, then who knows? Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened, my friend. But sorry, yes, carrying on, moving on from the midfielder thing, as you were saying.
just ending as well on Caicedo. I still don't think that's a
Oh,
foregone conclusion, but I feel like any sort of fan base is a bit tired of that name now.
yeah,
Um,
I think
but
so. Yeah,
I think ultimately any midfielder name all depends on departures. We'll have to see. Balogun could be a huge one, which funds a lot.
yeah,
Of course, Thomas Partey is, I guess, the midfielder who would have to make way. And I think talking of forwards and staying within that line, Mbappe was a fun topic to discuss. No Arsenal fan thought it would happen, but I think what is an interesting one is every season we've kind of have a brief of a huge target which we're after in about January sort of time. This time
yeah.
it was Declan Rice. Last season it was Gabriel Jesus. Who do you think it is next summer, next year? Because I have a
Mm.
very good feeling of an incline of who it is, particularly based off some comments made today, which I think are worth addressing. They could mean absolutely nothing.
Well, we might be thinking on the same wavelength here, but I still think there's potential that maybe one day we could see Dusan Vlahovic at Arsenal.
Not of the same wavelength here,
No,
but
okay. I just
interesting.
think by the sounds of it, he's not settled in amazingly at Juventus, and I know he absolutely shafted Arsenal with not picking up the phone and not returning the calls. But I think at Fiorentina, he looked incredible, and I just think you were saying, oh, is there another player Arteta can, oh, I want to fix you kind of thing. Dusan Vlahovic, I think there's a lot of potential there for something incredible. Not well, something incredible to happen. I just sometimes do wonder: is Gabriel Jesus a long-term number 9, and maybe his future would be out wide, or his future isn't at Arsenal. But again, I'm just kind of speculating at this point, and I'm more than happy with Gabriel Jesus. But I just think, is he prolific at the moment? Probably not. I think he's a very, very good forward, a very, very good striker, and he can play on the side as well. But I just think Dusan Vlahovic is maybe a prediction of someone that could join Arsenal in maybe a year's time, something like that. Maybe who knows? Who knows? But I think I know you said a number 9 is someone that you said in the previous episode. I think a number 9
I
maybe
think
next summer.
how I see it personally is I feel like this summer Balogun goes, and I feel like next summer or potentially this summer, but I don't think so. Nketiah goes. I think it
Okay.
just makes sense financially, logically, and everything.
Yeah.
And you speak about Jesus as a winger. I think that's where some of his best performances have come. But he's a top 9. I mean, before that injury,
Yeah.
absolute joy to watch him week in week out. Absolute
Oh
joy.
yeah.
That Leicester game, just super. But we've been linked with a big number 9 for however many seasons on and off. When it was Calvert-Lewin when he first came in, Arteta, Vlahovic obviously in the January market. The links haven't really gone away. There's been others. I think Osimhen in 2021. And talking of
Yeah.
Osimhen, that is the player who I personally think Arsenal are going to go for next summer. I think it makes a lot of sense with, I think this Dilla, I can't remember his name at all, but Napoli's president said that he thinks that, or no, he said that Osimhen will definitely be wearing blue and white or whatever it is next summer, this season, sorry. So I think
Yeah.
that creates a pathway next season for Arsenal to go for Osimhen with a year left in his contract.
Yeah.
There are other 9s about, not too many others, but I think he is the main one. What do you think about that?
I think Arsenal, if they wanted to sign Victor Osimhen, are going to have to pay. Sorry, an arm and a blooming leg. He's going to cost. He's not going to come cheap. And you know how difficult Napoli can be to deal with. And I just think I can't see any way on. Well, again, I could be surprised if you asked me last summer. I would have said I don't think Declan Rice would come anywhere near Arsenal. Osimhen, I don't know. I see him being at United. I see him being at United. To be honest, I think. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I think he would cost an arm and a leg though. But yeah, you say like a year left on his contract. But I think we're seeing a pattern here though, is a lot of deals. The clubs, even if they're in their year left on their deal, the clubs still want an astronomical fee for them, just because they see it as a better alternative to losing them for a season. You know what I mean? I don't know. I still think no matter, even if he's got a year left on his contract, Napoli are going to want 100 million plus.
I think potentially a bit less than that, but I am in line with you definitely that it will be a very expensive signing. But
Yeah,
I think it kind of comes to the point where if Arsenal do fork out that extra money this summer and do
season
make
ticket prices
relevant
go up,
sales,
drink prices go up, food prices
hey,
go up.
it's for the Osimhen and Caicedo Foundation.
Mate, we will fund it as fans. We will single-handedly fund the transfer budget
with the kits. Ironic. Spoke about before.
Oh yeah.
But I think it'll be interesting to see. I think if we can get those sales across the line in decent time and do manage to get someone like a Caicedo or a Tchouaméni or a Camavinga or someone of that ilk, like a superstar ilk, also linked to Frankie de Jong, but wage structure or wages just
would be big, yeah. And it looks more
astronomical.
like, I know you've mentioned him before, and I know he's not the same sort of profile, but Romeo Lavia looks like he's probably Liverpool bound. At this stage.
I don't know why I haven't really spoken about him. I mean, there's been a lot of discourse about him. I feel like he's kind of one where if Arsenal get their sales out of the way, Caicedo isn't possible, and Tchouaméni isn't possible, any of the Real
Yeah.
Madrid trio aren't possible, then I could see Arsenal going for him. But it all depends if he's still on the market.
And also, I mean, I can say Southampton want a lot of money for him, and that might be a sticking point for Liverpool. So I really, really love Lavia. I think he's a brilliant player, and I saw every game he played last season. Naturally, working in the industry I do, and we work on every single Southampton game, so I saw every single game he played last season, and he's an incredible talent. Romeo Lavia is an exceptional talent. I think the only question marks come over his fitness, but he's only 19 years of age. He's incredibly young and just doesn't have the legs to play a full 38 game season at this point. And I think that will come with time. And I just love to see him, come to Arsenal and be Thomas Partey's understudy for a season, rotate with him, he plays the Premier League, you play the Champions League, or the other way around, or something like that. So you're still playing, maybe playing, once a week, if you can. But just rotating, but still getting good minutes. But there again, if he did come in and do that, you'd think Jorginho, where would he play? But yeah, I think Lavia is an exceptional talent, and I really, really like the player. But I think he'll probably end up at Anfield.
Well, I think that just about concludes the second episode of AFC Newsday. Dan, it's been a pleasure. Some really interesting topics to discuss. A lot of movement, which has happened in these first few weeks. So you would expect a lot of quieter weeks, if you will, in terms of the transfer front.
Yeah.
The announcements pending for Declan Rice and Jurrien Timber will be very, very exciting when they do come. And Germany on Thursday will be a nice, fun one to start things off. As Dan mentioned, with the very late games for the US tour, that should be really good fun. The likes of United, Barcelona, MLS All-Stars should be some very fun stuff. Then you've got the Emirates Cup and a few other pre-season small type games. And then we're straight into the Community Shield and the Premier League. So very exciting stuff. It'll be interesting to see what Arsenal do for the remainder of this transfer window. Sales, I think, is probably going to be the main thing to keep an eye on in these next few weeks. But it's been a pleasure. Dan, any final words?
Mate, not much, to be honest. Again, thank you very much. I think just to say, make sure to subscribe to the channel, please. Like the video. All that kind of stuff really, really is appreciated by us. Just means we reach more people, and who knows where the podcast goes. And Yeah, I can tell you one place it does go now, and we can officially announce we are on Spotify. So at the time of listening to this, you can open your Spotify and type in AFC Newsday, and you can search for us. And Matt, I don't know how it works on the Spotify, but people can follow us, I assume, or they can like our
Yeah, you'll be able
podcast. And
to follow or save, but either way, we'll have a link in the
yeah,
description of this YouTube video to the podcast on
yeah,
Spotify, on our Twitter, AFC Newsday. If you haven't followed, it'd be greatly appreciated. We'll have, any social medias, if you will, that it will go out on the YouTube, on the Spotify. And yeah, thanks a lot for your support as well on the first episode. Greatly
yeah.
appreciated. And I look forward to seeing where this pod does go. And yeah,
Lots of
whatever time
content
you're
coming.
listening.
Lots and lots of content coming. We're going to be doing lots around the Emirates Cup, the Community Shield. So make sure you subscribe or you're going to miss it. And you're just going to, just be, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough if you miss it. So, yeah, make sure to subscribe, please. And follow Matt, follow Matt, follow myself if you fancy, and follow AFC Newsday to stay up to date. And yes, Matthew, it's been a pleasure.
It has. And if you want our specific ads as well, they just go into the following of AFC Newsday, or we can put them in the description. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for the next one. Have a great rest of your day or evening, whenever you're listening to this. Take care.